All right, The Summoned. This was a film that we watched for some reason, and two high-profile couples are forced to examine the cost of success when they're invited to an exclusive self-help retreat with a sinister side. Um, I mean, I guess that's accurate-ish. They are two couples, but one does not come as a couple. They are accidentally there as a couple. They do not come together, and they were once married, and they are not happy to see one another. So the first thing I'll say about this movie is that my initial thoughts after watching it were that this would have served much better as an episode of a television series, like an anthology TV series. Name whichever. I mean, any anthology series that handles, a 45-minute horror episode that is self-contained. I think it would have worked fine. I think this would have been like okay, it's pretty forgettable kind of episode. At an hour and 26 minutes, so almost double the runtime of one of those episodes, it offered much little else to it than it could have in a 45-minute clip. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty generic. I definitely think that what they were, the inspiration for this to me is Get Out. I mean,
100%. That's like all I could think the whole time we were watching it was just Get Out. But I like Get Out infinitely more.
Sure, Get Out's a good movie.
I think that this movie, like, it's not the gimmick that fails, because it's a cool gimmick. Like, it works in a lot of different scenarios, but I think that it doesn't have enough of the, like, questionable, the unreliable narrator. Like, I don't feel like we're drawn enough into the nightmarish, like, reality of what's going on to really get scared.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. This is a film that you watch and then you pretty much forget it 10 minutes later and you don't have a lot to say. Yeah. I mean, that's the review into itself. There's not a lot going on here to really draw from, to even discuss or talk about. You've got your main character, what was his name in this? Elijah. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of he's the center of it all, right? And we're watching everything through him. And then there's these like twists and turns that start to come, and you're like rolling your eyes because you're like, oh, I couldn't have saw that coming. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, oh wow, I'm so shocked.
What a shock.
I don't know. In the end, not only did I not really care, but there were a bunch of questions that I had that I just don't feel like there's an answer to, or if there is, I just don't care enough to find out. But there's this guy that's in the woods with a beard, and it's played by the director himself. And I don't understand this character at all. Because of how the story plays out and what's told, it just didn't make any sense to me. And then there's like no resolution to it either.
No.
And you're kind of just like, so what was the point of him?
I have no idea. And I think that it was just unnecessary. Like, the film is so short, but like you were saying, it could have just been done in 45 minutes. And I think it would have been a lot better. And it's not like, I mean, we love long movies when there's like things to like happening, or not even things happening. Like, it can be a slow, long movie, but it just felt like very unnecessary. I don't know why he was there, because like you said, there's no resolution to that character arc, and it kind of brings in all these questions for like what is like the rules of what's happening. And that sucks, because it's not questioning in a like, oh, I wonder, like, could this be it or could that be it? It's like, wait, like, what was happening again? I thought that this had to happen for that to happen, but that's not happening. So
there's too many things in this movie that mirror and ape off of Get Out.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the obvious parallel of a white woman bringing a black man to a completely white gathering. But there's like trying to get over your problems and using, let's say abnormal ways to go about solving those problems.
I like that.
The reveal of stuff that he finds on phones, pictures, this and that, what he finds and how that relates to Get Out. There's so many obvious parallels, and you're just watching it the whole time. Like, I don't know. I'm a horror fanatic. I have been my whole life. I've seen countless ripoffs. Like, that's my bread and butter. I mean, Friday the 13th is one of my favorite films of all time. And obviously that thing was made in response to Halloween. And we all know that. And we all know that half the slasher films, if not all the slasher films that came in the 80s after Friday the 13th, were aping off of its success and taking the gimmick of like, all right, well, this one was Halloween, this one's Friday the 13th. How about graduation day? How about prom night? How about, the list goes on.
My Bloody Valentine.
Sure. So I'm fine with ripping off something that's popular and works, right? Like Get Out was nominated for Best Picture. It did really well in the box office. It did really well with audiences and critics alike. So I totally understand. And so, but anybody being like, oh, it's just trying to rip off Get Out, half the fucking movies in the horror genre you love are trying to rip off something that you loved growing up, okay? That's fine. Halloween was fucking taking a lot from Psycho. It is what it is. But to me, it's just, you've still got to make an entertaining movie. You've still got to make something that's worth watching. And while the film is technically sound, I find it looks good. I think the acting is all fine. Like, on a technical level, I think the movie's fine. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, they had the talent there to make a competent film.
Yeah.
But it just lacks in direction and it lacks in writing. And it's just kind of an uninspired film that doesn't really offer anything interesting, new, or exciting to this subgenre, if that's what you want to call it. But it is a subgenre. I mean, where it ends up going in the end, it is another subgenre outside of Get Out, because in that way, it's nothing like Get Out. But regardless, it's just, I don't know. There's nothing here, because like when it comes to, there's so many different ways to do horror entertainingly, right? You can do the psychological drama where you're like fully invested in these characters. You can do the completely zany, over the top, let's fucking just throw buckets of blood and gore and kills. And we can just have really exciting, fun, weird characters or insane plot lines that are so goofy you can never forget them. This film just doesn't do anything like that. It's just, there's nothing interesting. There's nothing I'm taking from it going, oh, wow,
like
that's fun.
Yeah.
Right? The kills, any of that kind of stuff, nothing. The character's forgettable. The premise, forgettable. It's just... It's
a shame, but I mean, like, we were talking about it after, just like, what are we going to say in the review? Because we just don't have much, and we don't like to trash films.
No,
which I don't feel like that's what we're doing either, but it's just... it sucks. But I mean, like,
But I know what you're saying.
There's just nothing to say. It's an unforgettable movie for us.
It's a forgettable movie.
Or forgettable, sorry. Not unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
No. So don't watch it.
No.
Watch Get Out.
We do not summon you to watch this film. So, yeah, if you haven't seen Get Out, this is definitely a much better version of this film with a better payoff. So, that's it.
That's it.
Real boring review for a really boring movie. Bye.